Hi everyone. God, it's been a horrible few months, isn't it? This book was supposed to come out in May, and since then, uh, I haven't had a good time. So I just want to quickly thank um, Chris Lloyd, Emily Harrison, Anthony Anexigori, and Raymond Antrobus for kind of helping me hold it together over the last few months. Uh, and now I'm going to read some poems. I'm going to read them straight through, if that's all right. I'm not sure if people are into that, but no one's here to stop me. So I'm just going to say a few things first. So this is like a book which is almost like one long fragmentary thing. So I'm going to read a few bits. You'll see that some of it is made up of like anecdotes and bits of things that I found on the internet. There's a kind of cameo appearance of the film Ghost, starring Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. In fact, a film in which Patrick Swayze is murdered and made into a ghost and then has to vicariously make love to his wife through the body of Whoopi Goldberg, if you can believe such a thing. There's a few other bits and pieces, and then if I've got time, I'll finish with the Posh Mums thing. I'm going to just put a timer on because I'm keen not to be one of those men, the ones that read for 15 minutes too long. Okay. I hope you enjoyed Pascale's reading, and I hope you enjoy Phoebe's reading. And I want to say congratulations to the both of them for getting their collections out too. One story goes, a man on his lunch break was hit by a falling baby falling from a very high window of the building the man was passing on his lunch break. The man saved the baby's life, accidentally getting landed on. The man saved that exact baby's life, accidentally getting landed on one exact year later, on his lunch break, breaking the slightly more grown baby falling from the same window's fall, accidentally. The man's name is Joseph Figlock. What is sad is the realization this baby could literally mean anything, but doesn't. It does not. What I don't know is whether that baby, a toddler by now, has fallen a third time, whether he's falling still and at this moment crying out, where is Joseph Figlock? I can't see him. Why isn't he here? Elsewhere, a man is cutting down a tree. He works at it night and day, his big heaving chest grown tired, soaring at that thick trunk. After a long while, the tree is still standing, though, at a tilt towards his house, where his family sit. There is a pie in the oven. There are toys and the laughter of children. It's a beautiful home. But he's come this far, and it's taken so much effort. This is a thing, I feel a bit tight now about this poem, this thing, but, the dude's not going to hear it. I want you to leave your body now, he tells me, his voice not so much hypnotic as reaching for the hypnotic. But I leave it anyway, sitting in the upright chair of the windowless room, for a place higher up that's not quite the windowless room, though I'm aware of my body's particular kind of breathing down there, dressed in my favorite shirt. I'm up here still dressed in that same shirt, which is, I feel, suddenly becoming very important. Its color pertaining to a quiet hue of knowing I can't explain. And I do not think about the money I've given him, the man who is speaking, but I'm looking instead down on a yellow kitchen in Swindon, upon a tiny remembered body I have found crying or about to cry in little white shorts. And there is carpet streaked with blue, and there is the noise of a terrible thing that is happening, and there is summer outside with its other children. He doesn't understand, does he? Says the man. He's so young. And I understand the shirt that he will have to grow through all of the terrible things to fit. I can feel my body now filling up the space inside its soft and lavender scented cotton. Just gonna put my glasses on because I keep fucking misreading. Here's your mother. She is Patti Smith and gazes hungry in November in 1969 in Manhattan in the Horn and Harder automat upon a sandwich in a vending machine behind its glass with one less dime in her hand than she needs. Just then, your dad appears dressed as Allen Ginsberg, buys her the sandwich, and now she has to sit and listen to him talk about Walt Whitman for the rest of her life. But instead of talking about Walt Whitman, he is silent. Suddenly, they're both rotated 90 degrees to the left, and instead of an automat, there are only armchairs, a carpeted living room, a TV. Keep the photo of my dad smoking and looking like James Dean. By the way, my dad's like, oh, he's dead now, but he was hotter than me, which is quite irritating. Like Jack Underwood saw a picture, gave him a 9 out of 10. I feel slightly aggrieved by that. Rachel Allen gave him a 10, died. Keep the photo of my dad smoking and looking like James Dean. I've been so lovingly breathed into by the empty promise of that cigarette. That kiss-curled head and that black and white photo, he is my age or younger. He is maybe 15 in that photo, back knuckled to his own dad's barn door. He is slender in too tight jeans. He is going to do something shallow soon and very bad. I'm trying hard to follow his example, but I don't want to die. Can't seem to lift a heavy thing or get into fights past the lighter. I just like smoking and watching TV. Silent, like his photo in his eulogy, they said he loved beef, always beef in his sandwiches. His hair is receding. He is being very attractive in his photo. He's going to do something very soon. He is gone. It's already done. Here's your mother. She is sleeping, dressed in ostentatious pink, in the passenger seat of a brown beige Vauxhall Cavalier. Her hair done, perfect, curated, the windows done up tight, the exhaust fumes of your father gently filling up the car. I've got the page numbers for things that I want to read like next to me, but I keep misreading them. Somewhere in Florida, a snake is overwhelming itself with the dead cow it's found in an Everglade, with absolutely no regard for the impact on its own physique. It's walking its unfused jaws all over the thing, digesting before it's even finished eating. Those salivary glands are working like a motherfucker, that spine and body. The snake is crawling through its food on the long journey toward the place it likes to sleep. What is sad is how many people are having sex like this and calling it something else. Let the snake keep the dead cow it maybe deserves, maybe does not. What's important is somewhere, one of the things you think you don't deserve is happening to someone else, while you are unpacking all of your failed relationships into a small glass jar. What is sad is I wrote your name all over my jeans. Keep the jeans, keep the 3-meat sandwich we ate, the rap song we made together in a bedroom at your house, then mine, with our parents getting drunk downstairs and despising each other. Keep the elderly woman we both wanted to be on her bike, riding a bike, no hands. Keep the elderly woman we saw cold and knocked down in the street, circled by an ambulance and an ambulance. Everything zooming out and away from her. Keep the touching we did when we touched our boy bodies in out of the way places, in places that were out of the way. Keep those, David. Keep your alcoholic mum who left her family to live on the streets. Keep the children who hate her now. The husband who did the washing up but also slapped her in the face sometimes. I'm sorry nothing changed. Keep the woman, throw away the husband. Keep my own scar on my upper lip, the weight loss, meat-based, accelerating into the future. Did you hear the one about the 2 teenage boys who loved each other by not eating? One would occasionally watch the other vomit into the bathroom sink. The other would wipe the back of his pinstripe sleeve around the bowels of bone-grey porcelain and ask forgiveness for cheating. Which one of us was David, kicking a football so hard into a crowd of drunk dads, or through the window of the dirty butcher with his hairless legs beneath an apron? Our mums buying us secret cans of strawberry Slim Fast for school. Lunchtimes, they were so supportive. Dinner times, there were stacks of pizza slices piled up next to the neighborhood dogs. And oh, there was a girl at the end of the street we both saw ourselves properly lost to. My God, she was skinny, a higher volley of abandon than our bodies might ever hope to reach. There's some girls outside that are going absolutely wild at the moment, like screaming, shouting. I think there's some kind of fight. That I think maybe they just can't get access to this YouTube reading, and it's driving them round the bend. Sundays, he cuts first his Yorkshire pudding. I cut first my Yorkshire pudding. She stands in the kitchen smoking. Later, he will say an unkind thing. The whole of the world is arranged around our television set. Later, I will step over his drunk, white and out of work body. Sundays, she stands in the kitchen tenderizing a cow. The cow, of course, is dead and wrapped up in cling film. He stopped years ago cleaning his teeth. Years ago, he put his toothbrush away and turned his back on the bathroom sink for good. I cut first my Yorkshire pudding. She wears her endless wedding ring, removes her wedding ring to do the washing up alone. Later, he will say an unkind thing. I will step over his drunk, white and out of work body. The cow, of course, is dead. The cow is covered in gravy now. There are also peas. Sundays, there was a tooth on his pillow, which he hid. He hid it. The whole of the world is arranged around that tooth now in hiding or the gaps in his mouth. Later, she will do the washing up, take off her ring. Later, he will say an unkind thing. There are also peas. The television set is speaking to the room. The room is silent. I cut first my Yorkshire pudding. Again, I am zipped up and frantic with fear. The cow, of course, is dead. Honey glazed potatoes. The protection of a cup final kids match on Sunday, ruined by a football smashed against a crossbar. My teammates, their parents all despoiling in the sad, horrible sun. My dad, I'm sorry, I suddenly turned on him and chinned the fucker. Just checking the time. Okay, sick. Two more. In the morning, all of her pain is trying to happen at the top of its voice. Drivers shutting off engines at the bus stop, hanging out their cracked open doors, blue jackets. This woman, too old to be my mother, or she's not, too dressed in a felt hat and cashmere, or she isn't. Traffic is backing up along the road now, a small then big crowd making itself up around her body. And she's reaching her fingers right down inside herself to pull it all up for everyone to see. A botched magic trick, flowers stuck inside her throat. There are things like this I'm worried I can't stop. A static black cab's engine like a drum roll. Absolute sadness I cannot prevent. An enormous wrench, and she comes up empty, nothing. But her palms are on her knees and she's slow, dry heaving. This woman does not have my mother's mouth, or she does. All of her pain is trying to happen at the top of its voice, a botched magic trick. Meanwhile, rabbits growing out the eyes of a child and the woman holding its hand. Fistfuls of rabbits, white and black fur bloating in everyone. But the mother must be noble and her agony redemptive, with the suffering of the whole world etched on her face. The posh mums are boxing in the square, roughing each other up in a nice way. This is not the world into which I was born, so I'm changing it. I'm sinking deep into the past and dressing my own mum in their blue spandexes, svelte black stripes from hip to hem, and husbands with better dispositions toward kindness, or at least I'm giving her new lungs. I'm giving her a best friend with no problems and both of them pads, some gloves to go at each other with in a nice way. I'm making it a warm day for them, but also I'm making it rain. The two of them dapping it out in long shadows. I'm watching her from the trees grow strength in her thighs. My mum grow strength in her glutes. My mum, her back taut upright, her knees. I'm watching her grow no bad thing in her stomach, no tumor. Her feet do not hurt to touch. My mum, she is hopping. Sinews are happening. Wiry arms developing their full reach, no bad thing explodes. Sweat and not gradual death. I'm cheering, no thing in her stomach, no alcohol, no cigarettes with their crotonaldehyde. Let my dad keep those. No removal of her womb. And I'm cheering her on in better condition, cheering she's learning to fight for her own body in spandex, her new life. And though there is no beef between them, if her friend is gaining the upper hand, I will call out from the trees her name, Christy. And when she turns, as turns she must, my mum, in the nicest possible way, can slug her right in the gut. Thanks for listening. And I hope you enjoy Phoebe. Have a good night.